Last time, on the Tester, our fated few arrived at the hive of evil and were tasked with weathering the trials of Brett Goki. First, they had to endure the hissing cockroaches of Madagascar, which, like everyone uses these things, we know they're totally harmless, get over yourselves. While Ninjanomics looked to have things locked up in the realm of messing up everything, Ashi-chan was the first to go home, with Egoraptor tasting but a bit of the host's wrath, in the form of being treated like a friend at a sleepover that nobody wanted there. From there, the teams basked in the glory of David Jaffe. And suddenly the show went from being not that fun to being really not that fun, as Asuka ruined everything. She was not long for this world afterwards. Now our teams find themselves facing their greatest trials yet, having to be at least a little bit athletic and showing enthusiasm for the PlayStation Vita. Will they weather the storm? Will our favorites make it out? Will I have to do another one of these things because some people can't follow instructions? Find out right now. As the next episode opens, we get to see the fallout of last time. You can imagine that tensions are high after Asuka attempted to create the Axis of Evil. And it seems that her intense Suskaiden hatred has started to rub off on the rest of the group.
I don't think Asuka should have gone home. I think it should have been Suskaiden, but we've only been there a short time, and she already segregated herself. She did it to herself. No one really truly believes that she's actually a gamer and that she knows her shit.
Now, you might be too young to remember this, but there was a point in the last decade where the phrase fake gamer was considered an insult and not a high compliment. They also talk about how Suskaiden segregated herself from the rest of the group. Clearly this has to be her own fault, not the fault of everybody else talking about her behind her back, about how she's a Hurricane Katrina of a person. So after talking about how Jaffe-senpai wasn't giving them enough attention, we catch up on the rock-hard alliance of Suskaiden Reality Pales. Click the link below to the Shark Robot page where you can get all your Pale Skaiden merchandise. Here they attempt to explain why this isn't the dumbest thing on the show by saying that they can defend each other during eliminations. They then also decide that a little bit of deadweight never hurt anybody, and want to find a third member so they can kick the piss out of them in the finals. Now, there seems to be an ample amount of dead weight here, so it's not like it's going to be hard to find. This plot thread is abandoned by the next camera cut. So in the same way someone got served their divorce papers, the team get a message over PSN Instant Messenger telling them all about the next challenge. This one is all themed around Uncharted Golden Abyss, the game that made everybody want a PS Vita, and then when a PS4 version never came out, we all got a little sad. For the challenge, Suskaiden and Burn are stuck together, and in an attempt to make sure the team doesn't fail, they decide to squash their beef then and there. That's nice. After that, we get painted up and set out to go do the challenge. And can I just say as well that while one team went for full-on army camo, which, isn't really Uncharted's thing, but the other team just drew the face buttons on their cheeks like the world's most depressing carnival worker. Once our parade of preposterously paltry pinheads gets to the site, we get introduced to the new rotating seat member being John Garvin. Not only is he the director behind the Siphon Filter series and Golden Abyss, but he's also the driving force behind Days Gone. Did anybody else think Days Gone was still coming out? Like this game came out 2 years ago, and I thought it was being released tomorrow or something. Their challenge this week is to run an obstacle course while carrying melons that will then be used in a slingshot game to hit targets. This is going to make them such good game testers. Team Achilles is up first, and Burn is told that they need to get there as fast as they can. She interprets this as, do not carry any melons. Ninjanomics decides to run the course first and immediately proves himself to be a burden. As we established last episode, the most athletic thing he can do is draw during the draw phase. This culminates in the balance beam, where he is so completely winded that he lets every single person go first, gives his melons to Achilles, who's already carrying more than he has to, and then Fat Guy comedy walks across it at the pace of erosion. Achilles then makes a fool of him and does it in half the time with 3 times as many melons. So the team gets to the slingshot and starts blasting, where Egoraptor manages to hit his on the first try. And as a good team player should, he goes back to get more ammo. He has unknowingly signed his death contract. Suskaiden hits hers, and Burn goes next and proceeds to put in a Looney Tunes amount of effort. Melons are going about as far as you can spit, some are flying backwards, it's an embarrassment. And Suskaiden... Okay, I'm trying to be nice to you, but you're not making it easy. Eventually she manages to hit one, and the rest of the team takes no time whatsoever. We don't find out their time until later, so it's on to the black team. Unlike the Crayon and Nose Tan team, this team has a plan. Since Skaiden and Reality are the fastest, they can go first to get more ammo when everyone else fires. This plan is great in concept, except for the fact that this is a team full of burns.
Devastating.
Oh, shit. 2 of my shots don't even make it off the platform. They just land right on the platform, laughing at me like, ha, 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 ha.
After everybody else somehow hit a target, possibly because the wind was just so ashamed of the whole display it knocked over the targets on its own, Christy's the only one left in terms of having to hit things. Except she went against the team and went to go get more ammo, and spends the next however much time prancercising instead of moving with quickness.
Where the hell is Christy Pride? We need her here so we can get this done. Come on, Christy!
So after a shot that might as well have been launched at a different time of day for how fake it looks, Black Team finishes up and we get to see who won this round. By the minute difference of an entire minute, Black Team smokes Tan Team, and several familiar faces like Egoraptor, Burn, and Suskaiden are back on the chopping block. When everyone gets back, Achilles takes the loss the hardest and wants to bring the whole team together to reassure them. You can tell it's hit him the hardest because he's the only one who hasn't washed out their face paint.
I think everything was good. It was just, as fast as the other team did.
Exactly.
But there wasn't a clear loser.
I feel like at Elimination, the panel is going to ask us, where we think it went wrong. I have my idea of what went wrong.
We did what we had to do. We did it to the best of our ability, and that's all that really matters in the end.
Go, go, go. Shit.
It just hit me. My legs started wobbling. I started getting real dizzy.
Take your time, take your time, take your time. You go first, dude, so you get ahead.
It is a real,
But let's not forget about Black Team, they won! And as a result, get to meet the actor behind Nathan Drake, Nolan North, who as he's walking in, looks like he's just now realizing the magnitude of this mistake. Also, someone asks him to do the Nathan Drake voice, not realizing that that's just his normal speaking voice.
This is the Nathan Drake voice.
That's your normal voice already?
It's my natural voice.
They then not only get Uncharted Golden Abyss on 3 betas, which, sucks to be you, J-Tight. Also, Reality already won a PS Vita and still took one for himself. Pretty little piglet. But they also got Uncharted Drake's Journal, a behind-the-scenes compendium on Uncharted. For a book called Drake's Journal, though, I would have expected maybe a nicer cover, hardcover if you really want to get crazy. But as it is, Drake got his journal published by Scholastic. Seriously though, out of everybody they've met so far, Nolan seems to be the only one who actually told them anything about the job they're shooting for, and not how much they're gonna suck at it.
One thing I learned, I know dozens of people now that from the first game that we did at Sony, they have moved up from PA fast. It's just, and if you have that passion and that drive, you're gonna move up.
Oh, thank God, I thought this thing was broken. Yeah, so all that beef that was squashed is now unsquashed as soon as the challenge is over, and now Byrne, Kawaja, and Christy are all agreeing to throw Suskaiden under the bus when it comes to elimination. They genuinely start referring to her as if she's some sort of insect and hinge their plan mainly on the fact that Achilles is just too nice to risk his credibility defending her. On the way to elimination, Aaron says he's confident the team won't turn on each other. First question Byrne gets asked, and immediately the gloves come off as all the team's woes are placed on Suskaiden. But listen, she has a little bit more of a point this time, what with the doubling up on shooting, but at the same time she managed to hit her target without going through her whole Gonzo the Great comedy routine. Achilles insists that she's better than this. I'd like to show you the footage that shows this, but I can't. After Achilles refuses to say any one member was a weak link, they ask Aaron, who ignores the question and talks about all those melons he was picking up. That's when Mr. Garvin drops this pearl of wisdom.
You figured out almost immediately how to hit the target with the melon, and I would have anticipated that you would have stuck around to show somebody else how to do it. So it seemed like there was no communication.
I'll admit that's a good point.
We literally just got done discussing why you can't do that, or why if you did it would just make things worse. But Garvin won't stop needling Aaron on why he didn't stay back to help, in spite of the fact that he was helping by being far, far away.
So the question is, what could you have done as a team or any individual team member to speed that up so that you didn't lose by 1 minute? Because you said you succeeded, but you know what? You didn't succeed. You guys lost the challenge.
When prompted to say who was the dead weight, everybody stays silent. Oh, except for Byrne, who when asked reiterates, "It's Suskaiden!" Probably getting fed up with being a human punching bag, Suskaiden rebuts with the fact that Byrne doesn't do anything and then says it's all her fault.
They're not sitting here asking for bullshit, they're asking for truthful answers.
And it is going to be so heartbreaking to see someone who wants this job so much to go just because someone is good at faking it.
I truly have to agree. I can't see her working in a studio, feverishly working on a video game when she should be on stage somewhere, on Broadway or singing or...
So after getting hockeyed out of it by everybody and their mom, Reality stops drinking milk long enough to realize he should probably do something to help his Alliance member.
And you know what, I agree with David Jaffe from the last challenge. I think Suskaiden has something. And if she directs it towards whatever Santa Monica Studios is working on, I think that's going to be a masterpiece.
Aaron tries to speak up before Garvin immediately slaps him down and talks about whatever he's thinking about. Clearly opening his kissing hole was the last straw as the judges bring up how he's been on the losing end of things for the past 3 games. They're trying to review his whole performance. Okay, in that case, he lost the first round via editor interference, the second one he got to do diddly dick in, and in the third one he did the best out of his team and tried to support them.
I wasn't here for the first couple of weeks. Why didn't you stay and help your teammates shoot the melons? And that's kind of what I wrote down as one of my main notes for why I think your team lost.
Shut up about the melons, John! This episode, and indeed this season, is the reason they stopped doing this. So poorly managed and so incredibly tone deaf. Igor Raptor's elimination would go on to send shockwaves throughout the rest of the season. The next episode would go on to have a third of the viewer base of the original 3, and it would only get worse from there. Don't worry about Aaron though. Following the tester, he'd bounce back with videos such as Aaron Hansen Edward compilation. And with that, the episode ends. Or does it? The judges say that both Byrne and Suskaiden are still on the chopping block. They point out that they both don't do very well in challenges, and that Suskaiden isn't very popular.
Now, we did hear some comments, obviously, seem like maybe you're not that popular, Suskaiden.
Brett Goka's a dick. But even still, they get rid of Byrne, turning our triangle of terror into merely a line after only one outing. I'm never gonna get to use this graphic again! As a general, Achilles must be reeling over the fact that he got 40% of his platoon killed. And now, after a double high-stakes elimination, the episode ends. And I only have 30 seconds to wash the stink off before the next one starts! So, following the massive loss of one of the 3 people out to make Suskaiden's life a living hell, and also Igor Raptor, I guess, Christy and Ninja discuss how every elimination is going to be a fight. And I'm pretty sure there are legal documents keeping these two as far apart as they are on this couch. They are then told that they've been split into 2 teams at total random, and are going to compete in today's Street Fighter Cross Tekken-themed event. Is there any game in this whole show that hasn't been cursed with mediocrity? The most interesting pairing is on Team J-Tight, where they got Suskaiden and Christy on the same team. You may remember Christy from The Graph, but just like Byrne and Suskaiden last time, they decided to put their differences aside for the betterment of the team.
We all try to give the leading position to the person we're all cool with.
I don't want Suskaiden to be the leader. I really feel like she would take our ship and sink it.
Of the 2 teams, they picked J-Tight and Skydaddy to lead them, and to decide who gets the advantage going into the next round, the captains have to go at it in a game of Street Fighter Cross Tekken, in the most boring team combinations possible. Warning, the following is one of the most pathetic displays of gaming I've ever seen, and involves gross misuse of a fight stick. Viewer discretion is advised. What the f*** am I looking at? Skydaddy and J-Tight smash their buttons like a pair of overenthusiastic Bop It players. They're also very careful to never show the screen that the gameplay is happening on, and only show captured footage of somebody playing the game better than either of them ever could. So after the person back at Capcom with J-Tight's face over them wins, we get to meet Wushu masters Tim and Ricky. I actually did some research on this, and I can confirm that Tim and Ricky are the funniest name for 2 Wushu practitioners. This challenge is meant to test their brains and their brawn as they need to make up fighting game characters, then perform a choreographed fight for the judges. Now, I know you must be thinking that Ninja is sweating bullets because he couldn't walk across a balance beam without a triple bypass, but as it turns out, he might not be as much of a fish out of water as you expect. It's then revealed that the 3rd judge today will be Seth Killian, community manager for Capcom and the final boss of at least 2 fighting games, 3 if you count EVO finals. Suskaiden then proceeds to say words in an order I wish she didn't.
I just came. Wow. Oh, again.
After it's shown that Suskaiden is a genuine fan of fighting games and losing her mind at the idea of meeting Seth Killian, Christy expresses a want to murder Suskaiden with a hammer.
Wow.
If I could hit anybody with a stick, or a hammer, or a broadsword, or a mace, it would be Suskaiden.
Seeing as they won the last round, J-Tight chooses whether or not they want to do their choreography or create their characters first. Bafflingly, though, they go to the fight first before the characters. Wouldn't it make more sense to create your characters, then tailor the fight to them? Whatever, so we go to Skydaddy's team and watch them go through their creative process, where Ninja thinks up maybe the worst idea for a character ever, and I'm including Rufus in that conversation.
Let me let you know what mine is. This is real twisted. One day, one man came to get his food on, and then they decided to overcharge. He went into overdrive. Hit you with my special sauce.
Back with J-Tight and the Sunshine Gang, they're getting annoyed at Suskaiden for taking the reins as leader from J-Tight, who is standing there like a gormless moron. Other than that, all seems to be well. Same can't be said for Skydaddy's team, who were so caught up on their deep lore that they spent 45 minutes of their allotted hour putting it together. After that, they all get dressed and proceed to circle jerk each other on how original their ideas are, and it's time to switch. Now Suskaiden and Christy work on one half of the story, while J-Tight and Reality work on the other. Susan and Christy create a story about adoptive sisters where one of them will have to kill the other to stop them from turning into a demon. Reality and J-Tight are 2 guys. One of them's a boxer. Kinda. When they put their heads together, Reality questions if their story isn't too convoluted. Allow me to introduce you to the Guilty Gear character web. Now that both teams are prepared, it's time for the moment you've all been waiting for. LARPing nerds pretending to fight. Let's do this! Team Tight is up first, and we're introduced to our cast of characters. On one side, we have Ducius Maximus and Baby Tooth. Now, which of these handsome young men is going to be the last character in Street Fighter V? On the other side is Hikari, who is 16 years old. So good to see that she's future-proofing. And Nadeshiko, who is just cosplaying Speed of Sound Sonic, which is scary because like it's spot on, just him, right? It wouldn't come out for like another 2 years or something. This is weird. What comes next is just about as sad as what happened to those poor fight sticks. A gold medal to the Foley guy, though, who could have just left it sounding like this and it would have been fine. At the end of the fight after winning, Suskaiden slits Kirsty's throat as part of the act, and fulfilling a fantasy of hers on at least some level. So that was already pretty embarrassing, but what could Sky Diddy's team possibly do to one-up them?
One day at a burger spot in Metaplex City, they wanted to overcharge. They wanted me to...
I'm sorry, I just lost my breath.
There we go. Up some more. I ain't no chicken nugget. I'm the big stack. Come taste my special sauce. I just want some ham to cram in my jam while I spam my slam.
Nothing to add to that, and they send out Achilles to try to salvage his actual dumpster fire. He does slightly better. I mean, he doesn't comedy fat guy run out of breath. Kawaja also decided to be 9 years old, which, it's a bit of an age gap, but listen, more kids have to have the piss kicked out of them, that's all I'm gonna say on that. So the fight starts with an image that will be burned into my head forever, so that's cool at least, and from there they put on as solid a performance as you could given the abject sadness of the state of things. When it comes down to the final decision, it's decided that Sky Diddy's team wins, cause I don't know man, they only had one failure instead of two. Back at the house, Ninja Zombie shambling has left him so exhausted that he's unsure of if he can stand for the whole judging process. Going into this elimination, it's important to remember that Suskaiden has now been a loser 3 times, same as Egoraptor, giving her a massive chance of being eliminated. At least if this game follows its own rules from one episode to the next. At elimination, Achilles, Sky Diddy, and Suskaiden are earmarked as having done a good job, and that leaves everybody else on the chopping block. When questioned on why his story was underdeveloped, J-Tag gives the John Carmack excuse that the story wasn't as important as the fighting. They then bring up why they chose to theme their entire character around his baby tooth and then not do anything with it. You expect baby tooth to bite somebody with their baby tooth. No, just tigers really. After that, they turn to Ninja and ask what the hell he was thinking.
My feeling on it was that the character lacked sort of a clear identity, so the story wandered a little bit, I thought, and frankly seemed a little bit incoherent, so I was just wondering what your take on it was and what you were thinking.
They say his character was unfocused, which...
Ham, cram, jam, spam, slam.
Yeah, while he explains it, the judges look at him like he's an actual psychopath.
Oh, well, what I was thinking is he babbles, he's random, but I told my story within my sayings.
Like, yes, master.
And that's where he comes in. He saw the psychosis and the just design of sickness and wanted that with him because he has that. Hence the whole etc.
I think hearing you talk about it right now, I'll be honest, I still don't understand it.
It's for that reason that J-Tite is eliminated first and really drags his feet on the way out. I'm surprised he didn't shake everybody's hand. The camera didn't go back to watch him pack up his stuff. We didn't see him get in his car, get in his plane home, all that jazz. Oh, he's also a dad. He just drops that little nugget on us in the last sentence we'll ever hear from him. But also today is a double elimination. We just came up with it. Don't be a baby about it. And because of that, Ninja has to leave our lives forever. It was bitter, it was sweet, and one of those is a lie. Please join me in lighting a prayer candle for Big Stack. All right, put that out. You want to save that. Those things cost money.
But that doesn't mean that I'm not coming back.
Is that supposed to be a threat? And with that, in 2 episodes, we lost 4 people. It's almost like they want to get this over with as badly as I do. These 2 episodes weren't as hard to get through as the first one, because the Suskaiden hate train kind of takes a backseat in the second episode, but it's still such a drain. The fighting game challenge was such an embarrassment to sit through. The secondhand shame was washing over me like a tsunami. Overall, though, I'd say it's an improvement in the same way that being stabbed once is an improvement over being stabbed twice. Next time on The Tester, our competitors' nerves of steel will be ground down to their breaking point as we see them scuttle around on the ground like old-timey prospectors looking for the gold nugget they sifted out of a river, and then experience genuinely the most uncomfortable episode of television I have ever seen, and I am including Divorce Court in that. Will our fan favorite survive? No, he's already gone, but will the auxiliary choices manage to take home the prize? And what of the innocent Suskaiden? Find out next time on Tester Season 3.